From the streets of Montgomery to the halls of Congress, young Black activists have been at the forefront of America's fight for justice, equality, and freedom. Over the past century, their courage, vision, and relentless determination have transformed the nation, challenging systemic racism and inspiring generations to come. This is the story of how young Black activists shaped America, and continue to do so today. The early 20th century, laying the foundation. The early 1900s marked the rise of young Black leaders who laid the groundwork for the civil rights movement. Figures like W.E.B. Du Bois and Ida B. Wells used their voices to expose the horrors of lynching and racial violence, while organizations like the NAACP, founded in 1909, provided a platform for collective action. Young activists like Claudette Colvin, who at just 15 years old refused to give up her bus seat months before Rosa Parks, demonstrated the power of youth in challenging injustice. The Civil Rights Movement, a youth-led revolution. The 1950s and 1960s saw an explosion of youth activism that forever changed America. Young Black activists were the backbone of the Civil Rights Movement, organizing sit-ins, freedom rides, and marches that demanded an end to segregation and racial discrimination. The Little Rock Nine. In 1957, 9 Black students bravely integrated Little Rock Central High School in Arkansas, facing violent mobs and federal intervention. Their courage paved the way for school desegregation across the country. The Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC, founded in 1960, SNCC empowered young activists like John Lewis and Diane Nash to lead voter registration drives and protests across the South. Their work was instrumental in passing the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. The Children's Crusade. In 1963, thousands of Black children in Birmingham, Alabama, marched for freedom, facing fire hoses and police dogs. Their bravery drew national attention to the brutality of segregation and galvanized support for the movement. The Black Power movement, redefining activism. In the late 1960s and 1970s, young Black activists shifted the focus from integration to empowerment. The Black Power movement, led by figures like Stokely Carmichael and the Black Panther Party, emphasized self-determination, community control, and resistance to systemic oppression. The Black Panther Party. Founded in 1966 by Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale, the Panthers organized free breakfast programs, health clinics, and community patrols to combat police brutality. Their activism inspired a new generation of young leaders to address systemic inequality. The rise of Black arts. Young artists like Amiri Baraka and Nina Simone used their work to celebrate Black culture and critique systemic racism, laying the foundation for the hip-hop and spoken word movements of the 1980s and 1990s. The hip-hop generation, activism through art. The 1980s and 1990s saw the rise of hip-hop as a powerful tool for activism. Young Black artists like Public Enemy, Tupac Shakur, and Queen Latifah used their music to address issues like police brutality, poverty, and racial inequality. Hip-hop became a global movement, amplifying the voices of young Black activists and inspiring a new wave of resistance. The 21st century, a new era of activism. In the 21st century, young Black activists have continued to shape America, using social media and grassroots organizing to demand justice and equality. Movements like Black Lives Matter, BLM, founded in 2013 by Alicia Garza, Patrisse Cullors, and Opal Tometi, have brought global attention to police violence and systemic racism. BLM protests. The murders of Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, Breonna Taylor, and George Floyd sparked nationwide protests led by young Black activists. Their efforts have pushed for police reform, criminal justice reform, and greater accountability. Youth-led organizations. Groups like the Dream Defenders and March for Our Lives have mobilized young people to address issues like gun violence, mass incarceration, and voter suppression. Cultural activism. Young artists like Kendrick Lamar, Janelle Monáe, and Amanda Gorman have used their platforms to celebrate Black culture and advocate for social change. The legacy of young Black activists. The impact of young Black activists over the past century cannot be overstated. They have challenged systemic racism, redefined American culture, and inspired millions to fight for a more just and equitable society. Their legacy is a testament to the power of youth, resilience, and collective action. What can we learn from their struggle? The power of youth. Young people have always been at the forefront of social change, proving that age is no barrier to making a difference. The importance of solidarity. The fight for justice requires collective action and allyship across communities. The role of art and culture. Art, music, and literature have been powerful tools for activism, amplifying marginalized voices and inspiring change. The need for systemic change. While progress has been made, the work of young Black activists reminds us that systemic racism persists and demands our continued attention. Conclusion. From the civil rights movement to Black Lives Matter, young Black activists have shaped America in profound and lasting ways. Their courage, creativity, and commitment to justice serve as a beacon of hope for future generations. As we reflect on their legacy, let us honor their work by continuing the fight for equality and justice, because the struggle is far from over. #Black activists, #civil rights, #Black Lives Matter, #youth activism, #social justice, #Black history, #systemic change.